The chandelier crashed first. One glittering arm of crystal and steel broke from its mooring and shattered across the ballroom floor in a shriek of glass and gasps. Isla Khan didn't have time to scream. She was already running. Her heels clacked violently against the marble as she raced past wide-eyed socialites, diving for the control tablet near the stage. Her throat burned with panic. This wasn't just a disaster. It was career murder. And the worst part? It wasn't over. The massive LED screen behind the podium, where she was supposed to cue a billionaire investor highlight reel, flickered once. Then, with the arrogance only technology possessed, it replaced the slideshow with an image no one should have ever seen. A photo. Grainy. Intimate. A bed. White sheets tangled. A woman, her, half-turned, bare shoulder exposed. And beside her a man. His face was hidden, but the world could see the hint of a strong jaw, tousled dark hair, and a tattoo on his wrist. A single crescent-shaped scar near his shoulder. Isla's blood froze. Gasps erupted around her. Phones rose like weapons. Laughter, disgust, outrage, like a wildfire licking up silk-draped legs and designer suits. She turned, breath caught in her throat, to meet the eyes of the only man not speaking. Xavier Alvey, CEO. Kingmaker. Her biggest client. The man whose empire she'd just humiliated. And the man from the photo. He stood still, glass of champagne frozen halfway to his lips, eyes locked on her, not with rage. Not even recognition. Something worse. Realization. Shut it down. Isla choked to her assistant, but it was too late. The photo changed again to another angle. Then another. Someone had dug them out. Someone had planned this. And someone wanted her ruined. She didn't know what made her legs move. Just that she was suddenly shoving through the crowd, throat tight, heart thundering like a war drum. Isla. Voices chased her. She didn't look back. She didn't stop until she slammed through the doors into the back garden, gasping, shaking. The night air hit her like a slap. Cool, clean, and uninvited. Mama? The voice was small. Sweet. And there she was. Little Liana stood in her princess dress under a fairy-lit tree, hugging a stuffed lion half her size. Her curls were wild from dancing, her cheeks rosy. And on the delicate skin of her left collarbone, that same crescent-shaped birthmark. Sharp, small, but unmistakable. Isla knelt, trembling. "Did you eat all the cake, you naughty monster?" she whispered, forcing a smile through trembling lips. "No." Liana giggled. "Miss Dina gave me two." Then Liana frowned, tilted her head. "Why are your eyes red?" Isla blinked hard and hugged her close. Her child. Her secret. Her miracle. She'd built everything for Liana. Fought the world for her. And now, it was all coming apart. Footsteps. Isla stood in one motion, spinning toward the shadows. And there he was. Xavier. He stepped into the garden like a storm. Every inch of him carved in steel. Eyes unreadable. Mouth set in stone. She hadn't seen him since that night. Not in 6 years. Not once. She never even knew his real name back then. Just a whispered alias. One night, one masquerade, and then he was gone. But now, his eyes were locked not on her, but on the child. Isla moved instinctively, shielding Liana behind her. "Don't." Xavier didn't blink. "She has it." "You're mistaken," Isla said coldly. His jaw flexed. "The birthmark. My mother has it. My sister. I have it. She's not your problem." His eyes snapped to hers then, and they burned. "That's not your choice to make." Isla stepped forward, fury replacing fear. "You think you can show up now? After one night, after 6 years, and make claims? You don't get to do that. You don't get to look at her like you deserve anything." He didn't flinch, but something cracked behind his gaze. "I never knew," he said softly. "That's the point." They stood in silence. The soft garden lights flickered around them. Behind Isla, Liana hummed to her lion, unaware her life had just caught fire. Xavier exhaled slowly. "We'll talk. This isn't over." "No," Isla said, voice shaking. "It should be." Then she turned her back on him, picked up her daughter, and walked into the night. But what she didn't see, what she couldn't see, was that Xavier didn't move for a long, long time. His world had just changed. And he was a man who never let anything go. Not power, not control, and definitely not his blood. She could feel their eyes on her skin like acid. 36 hours after the gala disaster, Isla Khan stood in a glass-walled boardroom on the 49th floor of the Alvi Holdings Tower, her back straight, fingers trembling inside her pockets. The press had already named her the fallen planner, dragging her reputation through hashtags and gossip blogs. Headlines didn't mention the man in the photo, the one who shared a birthmark with her daughter.
No.
They only named her single mother, scandalous past, desperate social climber. The PR team had summoned her here to correct the narrative. Xavier Alvi had not spoken to her directly since that night.
Until now.
He entered without warning, flanked by two assistants who scurried out the moment they saw Isla standing alone in the boardroom. He paused in the doorway. Their eyes met. Isla's throat tightened. He looked controlled. Not angry. Not wounded. Contained. But that only made her more furious. Because she knew what lived under that stillness. She'd seen the fire once, 6 years ago. And now he acted like she was a PR issue, to be cleaned up. "How dare you summon me like I'm one of your interns," she said flatly. Xavier closed the door behind him with quiet precision. "You're not. You're the woman who lied to me for 6 years. Isla laughed once, sharp and humorless. "You didn't even tell me your real name. We met at a masked charity ball, Xavier. You went by Z. You disappeared before I woke up. You didn't try to find me. I did." Her voice broke, just for a second. "I tried. But all I had was a fake first name and a hangover." His jaw flexed. "And now you're here, with a daughter who has my birthmark." "Don't," her breath caught. "Don't pretend that matters to you. This meeting isn't about her. It's about protecting your brand, about keeping your name clean. You're wrong." His voice lowered to something dangerous. "This is about a child. My child." Isla's hands curled into fists. "You don't even know her name." He stepped forward. "Then tell me." She blinked. "Her name is Liana," she said, almost defensively. "She loves space documentaries and strawberries and believes in hugging trees because they get lonely. She hates loud noises and the color yellow.
And she's mine."
Every scraped knee, every fever, every night I had no money and no help. I was there.
"Not you." He didn't speak.
He just stood there, absorbing every word like a blow to the ribs. Then he said, low and hollow, and I missed all of it. Isla turned away. She couldn't let the heat behind her eyes fall. Not in front of him. "I'm not here to apologize," she said. "And I won't let you play hero. If you want a DNA test, fine. But you will not take her. And I swear if you even think about using your lawyers to threaten custody." "You think I'm here to steal her?" His voice sliced through the air. "I'm here because I saw a little girl who might be mine, and I felt something in my chest I didn't know I could feel. I'm not your enemy, Isla." "Then what are you?" she whispered. The room pulsed with silence. "I'm a man who doesn't want to lose twice," he said. "Not you. Not her." The door opened again too soon. A PR rep slipped in, adjusting her glasses nervously. "We're live in 10. Xavier and Miss Khan, you'll both stand behind the podium. We'll read the statement." "I won't do it," Isla said. The woman blinked. "Excuse me? I said I won't lie to the press. I won't sit next to him and pretend I ruined his gala with some sleazy photo stunt. I won't let him use me as a cleanup campaign." "Isla," Xavier warned softly, "this will only escalate." "Good." She walked to the double doors, then turned. And in front of the stunned PR team, 3 Alvi board members and a livestream technician setting up cables, Isla Khan raised her hand and slapped Xavier Alvi across the face. It wasn't theatrical. It wasn't gentle. It was 6 years of pain. 1 night of abandonment. A future threatened. A daughter unprotected. Xavier's had barely moved, but the sound cracked like thunder in the glass room. "I may not have power," she said, voice steady, "but I still have truth. Don't forget that." Then she turned, heels echoing, and strode out with her head held high. 2 floors below, the building's security feed was already uploading the slap footage to a cloud server. Within minutes, it would be everywhere. Isla didn't care, because for the first time in 6 years, she'd stopped running. He watched the slap on loop. Xavier Alvey sat alone in his penthouse office, the skyline bleeding orange across the glass. The clip played again on his screen. Isla's hand rising, falling, the sharp twist of her wrist, the defiance in her eyes. He hadn't flinched then. He wouldn't now. But something inside him had cracked. Not from the sting. From the truth. She wasn't the woman he remembered. The one he'd met in candlelight and silk, whispered to in the dark, tasted on his lips as the city slept. That girl had been warm, unsure, soft. This woman was iron. And she had a child who looked like him, breathed like him, laughed like his mother. Xavier leaned back, loosening his tie. For once, the silence in his office didn't feel like control. It felt like chaos with a pulse. A knock came. "Come in," he said, his voice steel. Adrian, his chief legal officer, stepped in. "DNA test request is drafted. Confidential courier can have it delivered tonight." Xavier nodded once. "And the press?" he asked. Adrian smirked. "The slap made you a meme. Half the internet wants her to be the next Marvel villain." Xavier's jaw tightened. "And the other half calls her a single mother icon. Says you deserved it." He almost smiled. "Almost. Make sure the media doesn't touch Liana's name," Xavier said. "She stays out of this. No photos. No stories. No threats." Adrian raised an eyebrow. "You're protecting her already." "She's my daughter," Xavier said simply. "And Isla?" Xavier looked out the window. "She's not going to forgive me." "Then why not walk away?" "Because I saw my future in that garden," Xavier said low. "And it had her in it." Across the city, Isla's world was unraveling. Her phone buzzed nonstop with media requests, threats, praise, judgment. Her inbox was flooded with lost clients and curious opportunists. But it wasn't the fallout that unnerved her. It was the silence from Xavier. Not a single word since the slap. No public statement. No retaliation.
He was planning something. Calculating.
That's what terrified her more than any legal threat. "Mommy," Liana's small voice called from the living room. "Can we have pancakes for dinner?" Isla wiped her hands on a dish towel and forced a smile.
"Sure, Starlight."
"Extra chocolate chips." Liana giggled and danced in her socks. Isla turned back to the stove, her heart aching. She knew this fragile peace wouldn't last. Xavier had seen the mark. He had money, power, and motive. He'd come for Liana, and she wasn't sure she could stop him. 3 days later, she got the envelope. It wasn't a court notice. It wasn't a threat.
It was a DNA test.
No message. No name. Just instructions and a private lab address. Isla held it in her hands for a long time. She could ignore it, burn it, pretend this wasn't real. But Liana would ask. One day. And the truth had a way of returning, whether invited or not. She stared at the ceiling and whispered, "God help me." Then she picked up the kit. The results came in fast. Isla stood in the kitchen, phone pressed to her ear. Liana asleep in the next room. "Positive match," the technician said. Xavier Alvey is the biological father. Her fingers went numb. The phone slipped from her hand and hit the tile.
It was real now.
Irrefutable. Liana wasn't just hers anymore. That night, the knock came. Isla opened the door, heart already sprinting. Xavier stood there, black coat, no bodyguards, no threats. Just him. And a bouquet of daisies.
She stared at them.
"I know you hate roses," he said. She said nothing. "I got the results," he added quietly. "I figured." He took a breath. "I want to be part of her life. I'm not asking for custody yet. But I want to know her. I want to know you again." She folded her arms. "You don't get to walk in and rewrite history." "I'm not," he said. "But I want to rewrite the future." The words lingered in the hallway. Then she took the flowers, closed the door in his face, and whispered, "We'll see." Across the street, in the shadows of a parked black car, a camera clicked softly. A man watched the apartment window through a long lens. And in his earpiece, a voice murmured, "They're together again. Begin phase 2. It started with a name. Isla's hands trembled as she read it from the top of the email. Nadia Farouk, Xavier's former fiancée. The same woman who had once been Isla's mentor at her first job, before she vanished without a goodbye. The same woman who now sat married to one of Xavier's biggest corporate rivals. And the same woman who, as Isla now realized, had known everything all along. Attached were digital copies of travel records, emails from a private investigator, scans of medical records, her own hospital file. How? With a note added by an unknown hand. She was pregnant. She asked for the father. This was buried.
Buried.
Hidden. On purpose. Isla clutched the counter of her kitchen to keep from collapsing. Her ears rang. The betrayal wasn't just distant and cold. It was intimate. Intentional. Someone had erased her. The sound of Liana laughing in the living room tugged her back to the moment. "Mama, can I draw you with a crown?" Isla blinked back tears. "Of course, Starlight. Just make sure it's not one of those heavy ones." Her phone buzzed again. "Xavier, I need to see you.
Alone.
Tonight." For once, she didn't hesitate. The rooftop of the Alvi Holdings tower was quiet, bathed in the low hum of city lights. Isla stepped out of the private elevator and found him standing at the edge, wind tugging at his shirt sleeves. He turned slowly, eyes dark, unreadable. "You came," he said softly. "I needed answers," she replied. "And you owe me the truth." Xavier exhaled hard. 6 years ago, I woke up alone. No number. No name. Just gone. I never stopped thinking about you. You didn't look for me. I did, he said. But I didn't know where to start. I told Nadia the night I left the ball, told her I met someone, that I was done with the games, done with the engagement. A week later, a scandal broke.
About me.
Fabricated. I was forced to leave the country for months, to clean it up. Isla blinked. Nadia? She orchestrated it, he said. All of it. The words hit like bricks tumbling down an endless shaft. She didn't just sabotage me, Xavier continued, voice hollow. She found out about you. About the hospital visit. And she paid someone to make sure we never reconnected. Isla's breath came out jagged. So this was all engineered. The lost night. The silence. My struggle. Liana growing up without a father. All because of her? His voice tightened. I should have seen it. I trusted the wrong people. No, Isla snapped. You didn't look hard enough for the right ones. Silence stretched between them like a live wire. I wanted to hate you, she whispered. You vanished. I thought you used me and disappeared like I didn't matter. I gave birth alone. Raised her alone. And still, she asked every Christmas if her daddy was coming. Xavier looked away, jaw clenched. She looks just like you, Isla said. And I hated you for that. I didn't know, he said, his voice breaking for the first time. Isla, if I had, would it have mattered? Her voice was low, dangerous. You would have dropped everything? Claimed me? Defied your board, your image? I would have claimed my daughter, he said fiercely. I would have claimed you. The wind rushed between them. She stepped closer, eyes narrowed. Then prove it. He blinked. What? Prove it wasn't just guilt or curiosity. Prove you're not just chasing a child because you lost control. Prove you care about me. Her breath hitched. Because I am so tired of being wanted only when it's convenient. Xavier reached out, hesitated, and then gently took her hand. I never stopped wanting you, he said. His thumb brushed her knuckles. I didn't know your name, Isla. But I remembered how you laughed when the champagne spilled. How you hated caviar. How you quoted Rumi in the dark. I remembered the shape of your eyes more vividly than any face I've ever seen. Tears welled up in her eyes. She pulled her hand away. Don't say those things unless you mean them. I do, he said. And I'll prove it. Not with promises. With actions. Her heart wanted to believe him. Her mind screamed not to. "Because someone is still watching us," she whispered, stepping back. "And I have a feeling this isn't over." Xavier tensed. "What do you mean?" "I got a package," she said. "Anonymous. It had your medical files. My hospital record. Someone's been keeping receipts. And they're not finished." Xavier's face darkened. Isla looked out across the city skyline, her voice barely above a whisper. "Someone wants to destroy us both. And they just lit the match." Across the city, a woman in a silk robe watched Isla's rooftop figure through a security feed on her tablet. Nadia Farouk smiled, wine glass in hand. "Well," she purred. "Let's see how much love survives fire." Isla's name was trending again. Only this time it wasn't scandal, it was war. Xavier Alvi seeks joint custody of child in secret paternity case. The headlines blared. Single mother battles billionaire over 6-year-old daughter. She hadn't even seen the papers when she got the call from her lawyer. The paperwork had already been filed. By him. "You said you wouldn't." Isla's voice trembled as she stormed through the towering glass doors of Alvi Holdings. Her heels echoed like thunder across the marble. Executives scattered. Assistants froze. Xavier's office door was already open. She found him standing at the window, sleeves rolled to his elbows, like he was preparing for battle. "I had no choice," he said without turning. Her voice rose. "You always have a choice. And you chose betrayal." Xavier turned now, slowly. His eyes weren't cold, but tired.
Torn.
"This isn't about hurting you." "Oh, that's a relief," she snapped. "Just legally tearing my child from me. No big deal. I'm trying to protect her. By dragging her into court, I'm protecting her from what's coming." He stepped forward. "From Nadia. From the press. From whoever else is pulling strings behind the scenes. I need legal ground to stand on if someone tries to take her, really take her." "And you didn't think to tell me?" "I knew you'd say no," he said quietly. She stared at him, her voice a whisper. "And you didn't trust me to protect my own daughter." Silence fell between them like a stone dropped in deep water. Then Isla turned and walked out without another word. 3 weeks later, the courtroom was packed. The air buzzed with media attention, though cameras were banned. Xavier's lawyers wore sharp suits and cold smiles. Isla's team looked small but ready for war. Xavier hadn't looked at her once. Not until she stepped into the witness box. The judge asked her to speak. She rose. Her voice shook at first, but then it steadied. Strong.
Clear.
"I was 19 when I met him," Isla began, staring straight ahead. "I didn't know his name. Just his eyes. I got pregnant, and I searched for the father with nothing but a memory. No one helped me. I worked 2 jobs. I raised my daughter with everything I had." She looked toward the judge now. "And now, the man who vanished wants to carve her in half like she's real estate." Xavier flinched. "She is not your legacy. She's a child. And she already has a home." A hush fell across the courtroom. The judge turned to Xavier. "Mr. Alvi?" He stood and walked to the center of the room. "I didn't know," he said simply. "That's not an excuse. Just a fact. I was lied to, manipulated, and yes, I failed. But I am not here to take her. I am here because for 6 years, I didn't get to be her father, and I want to earn that." He turned slowly to Isla. "And I want to earn you, too." A sharp breath ran through the gallery. "I filed for custody not because I want to take her, but because I want the right to fight for her. To fight for you. To stand in front of you both if the world comes for either." Isla's eyes shimmered. Her lawyer touched her arm, whispering, "He's either brilliant or desperate." Both, she thought. Then Xavier stepped closer to her, ignoring the gasps of counsel, the silence of the judge. He held out his hand. "I withdraw the petition," he said, voice low. "I won't use the law against the woman I—" He broke off, eyes locking on hers. Then, slowly, gently, he leaned forward and kissed her. Not possession. Not apology. Just truth. The room erupted. The judge slammed his gavel. But Isla didn't hear any of it, because the walls of her anger cracked, and she kissed him back. Outside, the media exploded. Isla Khan kisses Xavier Alvi in court. Scandal turns fairy tale? Real father or PR stunt? But Isla wasn't thinking of headlines anymore. She was thinking of a little girl waiting at home, and of a future that had just begun to shift. Across town, Nadia's smile dropped as she watched the footage from a hidden camera feed. She poured her wine down the sink. "This isn't over," she hissed. Then she picked up her phone. "Release the tapes." The tapes dropped just after sunrise. Blurred video. Intimate whispers. Shadows of bodies tangled in silk sheets, an angle no one was ever meant to see. The voice was unmistakable. Hers. Isla Khan. The footage was dated 6 years ago. Masquerade night. The night that changed everything. The night she thought was hers alone. Now it was the world's. The headlines were merciless. Cinderella's lie. Did she set a trap? Event planner exposed in secret affair with billionaire CEO. Xavier Alvi's empire built on seduction scandal? Isla stood frozen in the center of her small apartment, staring at the TV like it had slapped her. Liana was still sleeping, thank God. Her phone buzzed.
And buzzed. And buzzed.
Then it stopped. The world had its verdict. She was a liar. A seductress. A scandal in heels. Isla didn't cry. She just reached for her coat and headed for Xavier's tower. He was already waiting for her. The elevator doors opened to reveal Xavier standing by the floor-to-ceiling windows, jaw locked, eyes unreadable. The city burned gold behind him, but his face was carved from shadow. "You've seen it," Isla said.
He turned.
Nodded once. "I didn't know," she said. "I swear. That night was private. It was real." "I know." The silence stretched. Isla's voice cracked. "Then why do you look at me like that?" "Because I should have protected you before this ever happened," Xavier said. "Nadia had cameras in the penthouse, hidden in the chandelier. I thought I removed them all when I ended the engagement, but I missed one. And now the world thinks I sold myself for a future." "No," he crossed the room. "Now the world sees what I didn't have the strength to fight back then." She shook her head. "This will ruin me. My clients. My name. Liana." He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a leather folder. Handed it to her. She opened it slowly. It wasn't a legal threat.
It was a contract.
A partnership agreement. Full creative control. 51% ownership. A multi-million-dollar startup built from her vision, with his investment. Her name first on the letterhead. She looked up at him, breathless. "What is this?" "I built empires without you," Xavier said. "But I don't want to build the next one unless your name is on it."
A beat.
"I can't fix the past, but I can give you the power to control your future. You don't need me to save you, Isla. You just need me not to stand in your way." Tears slipped silently down her cheeks. He stepped closer. "Softer now. Let me fight with you. Not for you. Not instead of you. With you." She closed the folder and pressed it to her chest. Then said the last thing he expected.
"No."
Xavier's brows pulled together. "No. I don't want a business partnership," she said quietly. "I want the truth between us first. I want to know if this," she gestured between them, "is just redemption for you. Or something real." "It's real," he said without hesitation. "Every second since I saw her birthmark. Since I saw you again. Since you slapped me in front of my entire board." A laugh bubbled up between her tears. "You deserve that." He nodded solemnly. "Still do." She took a step forward. Then another. "Then we do this together. But not as a headline. Not as a contract." She touched her heart. As something real. Something earned. He reached for her hand and pressed it to his chest. "Then let's start here," he whispered. "With us." A week later, Isla walked onto the grand stage of the Alvi Foundation Gala, the same one she once managed behind the scenes. But this time, she stood at the center, head held high. Xavier stood beside her, silent but present. She gave a speech not of scandal, but of survival, of motherhood, of building when no one else believed. She didn't ask for forgiveness. She earned respect. Liana sat front row, clapping with chocolate on her chin and joy in her eyes. Somewhere across the city, Nadia watched the live stream on mute. Her lips curled into a slow, venomous smile. "She thinks it's over," she whispered. Then she turned her laptop. A headline glared back at her. "Breaking. Alvi Holdings under federal investigation. Leaked documents suggest corporate espionage." Nadia sipped her wine and clicked send.